Have you ever wondered why so many older adults wake up at 3 a.m. and can't seem to fall back asleep? You might lie there in the stillness of the night, staring at the ceiling, wondering what's going on with your body or your mind. The truth is, this is more common than you think. It's not just a random habit or a simple consequence of getting older. In this video, we'll explore 5 profound reasons why people tend to wake up around 3 a.m. as they age, and what these early morning wake-ups might be trying to tell you. Each reason reveals something deeper about your body, your health, and your life experience. By the end of this video, you may start seeing your sleep in a whole new light. These reasons are not merely surface-level explanations. They're grounded in real physiology, psychology, and the natural rhythms of aging that most people aren't even aware of. We'll touch on changes in hormones, sleep patterns, health challenges, and even emotional and social influences that may be quietly at play. And we'll do it all in an honest, empowering way that deeply respects the life you've lived so far. So, if you've ever found yourself waking up around 3 a.m. and wondering why, now you're in the right place. Stay tuned until the end, because what you learn here might not only help you sleep better, but it could also help you better understand and appreciate what your body is going through. Let's get started. Number 1. Understanding the decline of melatonin production in older adults and its effect on sleep. As we age, our bodies undergo a variety of changes, many of which affect how we sleep. One of the most significant factors contributing to sleep disturbances in older adults is the natural decline in melatonin production. For many, waking up in the middle of the night, especially around 3 a.m., becomes a common experience, leading to frustration and confusion. However, this change is a normal part of the aging process, and understanding it can lead to better management of sleep patterns. Melatonin is a hormone produced by the pineal gland in the brain, and it plays a critical role in regulating our sleep-wake cycle, commonly known as the circadian rhythm. This hormone signals to the body that it's time to sleep, promoting drowsiness and helping you fall asleep. It also helps maintain sleep throughout the night by keeping the body in a restful state. For younger individuals, melatonin is produced in consistent, high levels during the night, ensuring a smooth transition into sleep and supporting long stretches of uninterrupted rest. This steady production allows for deeper, more restorative sleep phases, which are vital for both physical and mental health. However, as we grow older, melatonin production naturally begins to decline. By middle age, melatonin levels can drop significantly, and the pattern of secretion becomes less consistent. This decline is often one of the primary reasons why many older adults find themselves waking up in the early hours of the morning, particularly around 3 a.m. This is when the body's internal clock starts to signal wakefulness. But without enough melatonin, the transition from sleep to wakefulness becomes more pronounced. The most obvious impact of reduced melatonin is disrupted sleep. While younger individuals may experience deep, undisturbed sleep, older adults often find themselves waking up in the middle of the night, even if they fall asleep easily. This pattern is especially common during the early hours, when melatonin levels are typically at their lowest. For instance, an older adult may have no trouble drifting off to sleep after a long day or a relaxing evening routine. However, as the night progresses and melatonin levels decrease, their ability to stay asleep diminishes. By 3 a.m., they may find themselves wide awake, feeling fully alert, as if it's time to start the day. This waking up is not triggered by external factors, such as noise or a bad dream, but rather by the body's internal clock attempting to shift toward wakefulness. It's important to understand that this isn't a personal failure or an indication that something is wrong. It's simply a biological change that occurs as we age. The key factor here is the decline in melatonin, which no longer helps maintain a steady sleep cycle throughout the night. In addition to the natural decline in melatonin production, the sleep environment can also play a crucial role in exacerbating sleep disruptions. Exposure to light, even in small amounts, can suppress the body's ability to produce melatonin further. Common sources of light in the bedroom, such as streetlights outside the window, a blinking clock on the nightstand, or a hallway light leaking under the door can significantly interfere with the production of melatonin, making it harder to stay asleep. For many older adults, this subtle light exposure can be enough to disturb their already fragile sleep patterns. The light essentially sends a signal to the brain that it's daytime, which can counteract the body's attempts to remain in a restful sleep state. Take, for example, the case of Sam, a 71-year-old man who once enjoyed a reputation for being an excellent sleeper. Over time, however, Sam began to notice that he was waking up at 3:10 a.m. almost every night, feeling fully awake and alert. He didn't feel anxious or stressed, just as though it was time to get up and start the day. This shift in his sleep pattern left him frustrated and unsure about what was happening to his body. After some research and reflection, Sam came to understand that his disrupted sleep was simply a natural part of aging, linked to the decline in melatonin production. Instead of blaming himself for the disturbance, he began to make small, intentional changes to his routine to help manage the effects of this biological shift. Sam took steps to create a darker bedroom environment, ensuring that external light sources were minimized. He also made a habit of avoiding screens in the hours leading up to bedtime, as the blue light emitted from phones and computers can suppress melatonin production even further. Additionally, Sam began taking short evening walks to help reinforce his body's natural circadian rhythm, signaling to his brain that it was still nighttime. These simple adjustments allowed Sam to adapt to his changing body instead of working against it. While he still wakes up early on occasion, he no longer feels frustrated or defeated by it. Instead, he has learned to work in harmony with his body, understanding that sleep disruptions are not a sign of failure, but a normal aspect of the aging process. Sam's story is a reminder that aging doesn't mean the body is failing, nor does it mean that restful sleep is out of reach. It simply requires understanding the changes taking place and adjusting one's lifestyle to accommodate these shifts, instead of resenting these changes. Embracing them and finding ways to work with the body's evolving needs can lead to more restful, fulfilling sleep. For anyone experiencing similar sleep disturbances, it's important to remember that you are not alone. The decline in melatonin is a natural part of aging, and while it may affect the way we sleep, there are strategies that can help mitigate its impact. Creating a sleep-friendly environment, sticking to a consistent sleep schedule, avoiding stimulants before bedtime, and practicing relaxation techniques can all support the body's efforts to maintain a healthy sleep cycle. In conclusion, understanding the decline in melatonin production and its effects on sleep as we age can help us navigate these changes with patience and compassion. By making small adjustments to our environment and routines, we can continue to enjoy restful, restorative sleep well into our later years, maintaining both our physical health and overall well-being. Number 2, a shifted sleep cycle and advanced sleep phase. As we age, many older adults find themselves waking up in the early hours of the morning, often around 3 a.m. This phenomenon is not simply a random or unfortunate occurrence. It's a natural part of the aging process and is largely driven by a shift in the body's internal clock, known as advanced sleep phase. To better understand this, it's important to grasp the concept of the circadian rhythm, which plays a critical role in regulating our sleep-wake cycles. The circadian rhythm, often referred to as the body's internal clock, is responsible for telling our body when it's time to wake up and when it's time to rest. This rhythm is influenced by environmental cues, primarily light and darkness, and typically follows a 24-hour cycle. However, as we grow older, our circadian rhythms naturally shift forward, resulting in a phenomenon called advanced sleep phase. This means that our sleep cycle shifts earlier, leading us to feel sleepy at an earlier hour in the evening and awake much earlier in the morning. For many older adults, this shift might become most noticeable when they find themselves nodding off during late-night activities like watching television or when they wake up well before their alarm clocks go off. Even on days when they hope to sleep longer, they find themselves fully awake by early morning. This is not merely a change in lifestyle or habits. It's a biological adjustment that becomes more pronounced as we age. When we are younger, our body's circadian rhythm tends to align with the sun's schedule. This means that we naturally stay up later in the evening and wake up later in the morning, typically feeling rested after a full night's sleep. However, as we age, this rhythm begins to shift. Older adults may find themselves naturally feeling tired earlier in the evening, often around 9 p.m., and waking up early in the morning, sometimes as early as 3 a.m. In this scenario, their bodies may already feel fully rested by the time the early morning hours arrive. This shift is often perplexing for many seniors, especially those who may have once had a much later bedtime. They may begin to wonder if there's something wrong with their sleep patterns or if they're experiencing insomnia. However, in many cases, these early wake-ups are simply a result of the natural progression of advanced sleep phase, not a sleep disorder. Take the example of Peter, a 69-year-old retiree, whose story is a perfect illustration of this phenomenon. Peter had long followed a routine of eating dinner at 5 p.m., watching TV for a while, and heading to bed around 9 p.m. He would then wake up at precisely 3 a.m., feeling wide awake and unable to fall back to sleep. At first, Peter was concerned that he was developing insomnia, as he had not experienced such early awakenings in his younger years. However, after learning about advanced sleep phase, Peter realized that his sleep schedule wasn't broken. It had simply been rescheduled by his aging body. Once Peter understood that his early wake-ups were a normal part of aging, he began to make small, deliberate adjustments to his evening routine. He started staying up a bit later than usual, reading with a soft, warm light, or going for gentle walks after dinner. Occasionally, he would engage in phone calls with his daughter to keep himself entertained and relaxed. These simple activities helped Peter shift his wake-up time closer to a more typical morning hour, reducing the frequency of those early 3 a.m. awakenings. Peter's story highlights an important lesson. Understanding your natural circadian rhythm can help you adjust your habits to better align with the body's changes. By making small adjustments to his daily routine, Peter was able to manage his sleep cycle and wake up at a time that felt more in sync with his desired schedule. This not only improved his sleep, but also contributed to his overall well-being. For many older adults who are experiencing advanced sleep phase, there are several strategies that can help alleviate early morning wake-ups and promote a more natural sleep pattern. Gradually adjust bedtime. Try staying up a bit later each night, but do so gradually to avoid disrupting your natural rhythm too suddenly. Shift your bedtime by 15 to 30 minutes every few days. Stay active in the evening. Engage in calming activities like reading, knitting, or light stretching before bed to help extend your wakefulness into the later evening hours. Limit daytime naps. Long naps during the day can interfere with your ability to fall asleep later in the evening. Keep naps short, around 20 to 30 minutes, and avoid them late in the afternoon. Light exposure. Natural light is a powerful cue for regulating your circadian rhythm. Try to get plenty of natural sunlight during the day, especially in the morning, and limit exposure to bright artificial light in the evening. Create a relaxing bedtime routine. Establishing a consistent pre-sleep routine can help signal to your body that it's time to wind down, even if you're staying up a bit later than usual. The shift in sleep patterns caused by advanced sleep phase is a natural part of aging. Understanding and accepting this change can help older adults better manage their sleep and improve their overall quality of life. While early wake-ups may initially feel jarring, with small adjustments to lifestyle and routine, it's possible to align your sleep schedule with your body's new natural rhythm. As Peter's story shows, recognizing the change is the first step to embracing it and making it work for you. By adjusting your habits in small, intentional ways, you can manage your circadian rhythm and find a sleep routine that works for you, even as you age. Number 3, physical discomfort and health-related interruptions. For many older adults, waking up in the middle of the night, particularly at around 3 a.m., is often linked to physical discomfort or underlying health conditions that become more pronounced during the night. As we age, the body undergoes various changes, some of which manifest as chronic conditions or more frequent minor health issues. These can significantly disrupt sleep and contribute to waking up during the early hours of the morning. The relationship between aging and physical discomfort is complex. As people grow older, the chances of experiencing chronic conditions such as arthritis, diabetes, or even heart disease increase. These conditions can have varying effects on sleep, either by causing discomfort or by making it harder for the body to maintain a restful position for long periods of time. For instance, arthritis, a common condition in older adults, can cause pain, stiffness, and inflammation in the joints, making it difficult to stay comfortable for an entire night. When a person with arthritis goes to bed, they might initially feel fine, but after several hours of lying in one position, their joints can become stiff and painful. This discomfort often forces them to wake up. This situation can be compounded by other factors, such as the body's changing sleep cycle with age. Older adults typically spend less time in deep sleep, which makes them more vulnerable to waking up due to discomfort. In addition to musculoskeletal issues like arthritis, there are other health-related factors that might interrupt sleep. Conditions such as acid reflux or gastroesophageal reflux disease, GERD, can also play a role in waking up in the middle of the night. Acid reflux, for instance, often worsens when someone lies down too soon after eating. The discomfort from stomach acid rising into the esophagus can make it difficult to stay asleep, causing an abrupt wake-up, often around 3:00 a.m., when the body is more likely to experience a shift in its natural sleep rhythm. Consider Jane, a 78-year-old woman who has lived with mild arthritis for years. She noticed that she began waking up consistently around 3:30 a.m. every night. Initially, she assumed this was simply a natural part of the aging process. However, after consulting with her doctor, Jane learned that her arthritis was affecting her sleep more than she had realized. The pain in her joints, particularly in her knees and hips, was becoming more pronounced during the night, disturbing her rest. After speaking with her doctor, Jane began to adjust her treatment plan. Her doctor recommended that she tweak her medication dosage and consider lifestyle changes, such as incorporating regular stretching exercises and using specialized pillows to support her joints while sleeping. These adjustments made a noticeable difference. Over time, Jane's nighttime wake-ups became less frequent, and when she did wake up, it was easier for her to fall back asleep. The takeaway from Jane's experience is crucial. Waking up in the middle of the night, especially at 3 a.m., does not automatically mean that your body is failing or that aging is inevitable. Rather, it is a signal that your body is reacting to some form of discomfort, health changes, or underlying conditions. These wake-ups act as a cue, inviting you to pay attention to your health and to adjust your habits accordingly. It could be an opportunity to reevaluate lifestyle choices, medications, or even to seek professional medical advice to address and potentially improve your sleep and overall well-being. Health-related sleep disturbances are common, but they can often be managed or minimized with the right approach. Regular communication with a healthcare provider, routine physical activity, and thoughtful changes to one's sleep environment can help alleviate some of the discomforts that prevent rest. This proactive approach not only helps manage sleep issues, but can also lead to a healthier, more comfortable aging process. Ultimately, waking up at 3 a.m. should not be seen solely as an inconvenience or a sign of declining health. Instead, it serves as an important signal from the body that may indicate the need for lifestyle changes, medical intervention, or simply a more tailored approach to managing one's health in later years. By understanding the causes behind these nighttime disruptions, older adults can find effective solutions to improve their sleep and overall quality of life. Number 4, lifestyle habits that shift your sleep rhythm. As we age, our daily routines and lifestyle habits naturally undergo changes. These shifts, while often subtle, can significantly influence our sleep patterns and, consequently, our overall well-being. Many older adults experience changes such as eating dinner earlier, winding down for bed sooner, and engaging in less physical activity throughout the day. Over time, these small adjustments can gradually alter the body's internal clock, pushing bedtimes earlier and, in turn, making wake-up times earlier as well. For instance, take Gary, a 74-year-old retired man. In his younger years, he had a more structured daily routine, with work, social obligations, and a more active lifestyle. But now, as a retiree, Gary's days have become increasingly unstructured. One noticeable change in his routine was his dinner time. He began eating dinner around 4:30 p.m., far earlier than he ever had when he was working. As the evening unfolded, his energy levels dropped much sooner than they did in the past. By 8:30 p.m., Gary would find himself ready for bed, exhausted from the day. At first, Gary did not connect this earlier dinner time with the changes in his sleep rhythm. However, over a period of several months, he started noticing a troubling pattern. He was waking up consistently at 3 a.m. every morning, no matter what time he went to bed. At first, he thought it was just a temporary issue, but when it persisted, Gary realized something about his routine had shifted. His internal sleep cycle was no longer aligning with his needs. Gary's experience is not uncommon. As people age, their bodies tend to become more sensitive to changes in daily activities, including meal times, physical exertion, and even social interactions. A shift to eating dinner earlier, for example, may trigger the body's natural sleep signals earlier in the evening. This may be compounded by a decrease in physical activity, which can make it harder to stay alert or active into the later evening hours. Upon reflecting on his routine, Gary decided to take action and make some small but significant adjustments. He recognized that adding a regular afternoon walk could help boost his energy levels, promoting better circulation and reducing the need for an afternoon nap. He also decided to stop taking naps after dinner, understanding that these could interfere with his ability to stay asleep through the night. Additionally, he started reading in brighter light during the evening hours, which helped signal to his brain that it wasn't time for bed yet. These small lifestyle tweaks had a surprisingly profound impact on Gary's internal rhythm. With a more consistent physical activity routine and less interference from naps, he was able to push his sleep window back, gradually shifting his sleep cycle later. Eventually, he was no longer waking up at 3 a.m. Instead, he began waking up at a more reasonable time and felt more rested, having improved both the quality and consistency of his sleep. The key takeaway from Gary's story, and from many others, is that sometimes the smallest changes to our daily habits can have a significant impact on our sleep cycle. Being aware of your own lifestyle habits, whether it's your meal times, physical activity level, or even your exposure to light, can help you identify patterns that may be disrupting your sleep. By making thoughtful adjustments, you can realign your sleep rhythm with your personal needs and lifestyle, leading to better overall health and a more rested, rejuvenated feeling each morning. In essence, the relationship between lifestyle habits and sleep is a complex one. It's easy to overlook the fact that even seemingly minor shifts, like eating dinner earlier or taking longer naps, can gradually reset your body's natural rhythms. However, with a conscious effort to tweak those habits, it's possible to restore a more natural sleep pattern that supports your energy and well-being, both during the day and at night. Number 5, emotional and psychological restlessness. Waking up at 3 a.m. is a phenomenon that many people experience, and it can be surprisingly less about physical restlessness and more about the emotional and psychological state of the mind. As we grow older and life's busyness slows down, we may find ourselves more prone to waking up in the early hours of the morning, our minds stirred with unresolved thoughts and feelings. What was once buried under the weight of daily tasks and distractions often resurfaces when the world is silent, allowing our thoughts to fill the quiet of the night. These early morning hours, when the clock strikes 3 a.m., can feel like a time of deep emotional reflection. In the absence of the usual noise and obligations of the day, the mind finds space to wander and process emotions that were ignored or dismissed earlier. It's as if the stillness of the night creates a void that draws out the hidden or suppressed feelings, worries, and regrets that we might not have had the mental space or energy to confront during the busyness of the day. Take the story of Sarah, for example. At 80 years old, Sarah leads an active life. She spends her days tending to her garden, having warm chats with her grandchildren, and enjoying her favorite television programs. These activities bring her joy and fulfillment, keeping her busy and connected to the world around her. But in the stillness of the early morning hours, Sarah often finds herself waking up at exactly 3 a.m. Her mind, seemingly out of nowhere, is flooded with thoughts of her late husband. Memories that she thought had settled long ago return to her with vivid clarity. She is haunted by the things left unsaid, the moments she wishes she could relive, and the absence that now defines her life. In these quiet moments, her mind circles around old regrets and worries that she had been too busy to confront during the day. At first, Sarah believed this was simply a sleep problem, an issue of restless nights that could be solved with better sleep hygiene or a warm drink before bed. But over time, she realized that these early mornings were not just a disruption of sleep. They were moments of emotional processing. They were her mind's way of dealing with the emotions and unresolved feelings that had been pushed aside in the whirlwind of daily activities. It wasn't that her body was restless. It was that her heart and mind had unfinished business they needed to address. Sarah's realization led her to an important breakthrough. Instead of trying to force herself back to sleep or ignore the flood of thoughts, she began to embrace the early mornings as a time of reflection. She placed a small journal beside her bed, and each time she woke up at 3 a.m., she would jot down whatever was on her mind. Sometimes it was a memory of her husband. Other times it was a worry about the future, and occasionally it was a question she had never allowed herself to ask during the day. This simple act of writing allowed her to release the emotional tension that had been building up in her mind. By reflecting on her thoughts and emotions, Sarah was able to process them in a way that helped her find peace and eventually drift back into a more restful sleep. What Sarah discovered is something many people experience but may not fully understand. Our hearts and minds don't always operate on a schedule. They don't wait for the right time to resurface the things we need to deal with. Our minds often present unresolved emotions, regrets, and questions in the quiet of the night, as if it's the only time they can be heard. These early morning awakenings are not a sign of something wrong with our bodies. Rather, they're a natural response to the deep emotional work our minds are trying to do when there is nothing else to distract us. The truth is, the quiet of 3 a.m. can be a sacred space for emotional reflection. It's a time when our subconscious brings to the surface the things we need to process in order to heal. Whether it's unresolved grief, unspoken words, or anxieties about the future, the stillness of the night forces us to confront them. For Sarah, that meant acknowledging the deep loss of her husband and giving herself the time and space to grieve. It meant recognizing that emotional restlessness is not a flaw or a weakness, but a necessary part of the healing process. If you find yourself waking up at 3 a.m. with a racing mind or feelings that seem to come from nowhere, you're not alone. Consider using this time as an opportunity to reflect on your emotions, write them down, or simply sit with them. Instead of fighting the restlessness, embrace it as a natural part of your emotional journey. Just like Sarah, you might find that by acknowledging and processing your thoughts, you can ease the tension and return to rest with a sense of peace. In the quiet of the night, your mind is doing the important work of healing, remembering, and asking the questions that are essential for your emotional well-being. As we wrap up, take a moment to reflect on the insights shared here. Did something resonate with you the most? Was it the changes in your internal clock, the subtle shifts in health, or maybe the emotional rhythm that emerges when the world is still? Each of these 5 reasons provides a different way to understand why you may be waking up at 3 a.m. None of them suggest anything is broken. In fact, they show how deeply your body and mind are still responding and adapting as you navigate this stage of life. Instead of seeing 3 a.m. wake-ups as an inconvenience, you might begin to see them as gentle messages from your body and mind, reminding you to listen more closely to your needs. If you found any of these insights helpful, please leave a comment below and Let us know what you learned and how you plan to use in your life. Your thoughts are valuable to us, and your support helps us continue creating meaningful content. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.